What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, and today I figure since the UFC is now over for 2025, I'm going to be doing a video where I predict all 8 UFC champions by the end of 2026. So in this video, I'm basically going to be doing a breakdown of who I think will be the champion of each division, from flyweight all the way to heavyweight, men's divisions only, because nobody gives a fuck about the dishwashers division, women's division. So yeah, we're just going to completely skip that. If you want my predictions, like if you really care that much, I'll say fucking Kayla Harrison, fucking Shevchenko, and Whaley. Those are my predictions. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, let's move on to what we care about. So yeah, I'm going to be breaking down pretty much, like I already said, who I think is going to be the champ at the end of the year, because the UFC is over for the year and I need to make some content because there's no UFC for 6 weeks. So with that being said, let's go through who I think is going to be the champion in each division, starting with the flyweight division. I'm going with Manel Cap. I know this is who I predicted last year, but it's who I'm going to be predicting this year. I believe this will finally be the year of Manel Cap. We all just saw what he did to fucking Brandon Royval. He just absolutely fucked his ass up. Like, he just walked in there. I mean, it was kind of competitive up until the knockout, but still, he knocked him out in one round. Joshua Van couldn't do that. Tatsuro Taira couldn't do that. Pantoja couldn't do that. Fucking Moreno couldn't do that. And before that, he destroyed Asu Almabayev, who's actually on a decent run, and he's fighting Moreno next. He absolutely massacred fucking Bruno Silva. Why the fuck do I keep calling him Gene Silva? But yeah, he absolutely massacred him before Joshua Van did it, even though he got hit in the nuts like fucking 20 times. I know people bring up the groin shot in the end, but come on, he got eye poked, he got kicked in the balls like 50 times. That was fair. But yeah, I also think he beats Joshua Van. I think he's faster. I think he's more powerful. He's more elusive and more evasive as a boxer. He's less hittable. His footwork, I think, is better. I mean, Joshua Van's a very good boxer, but so is Manel Cap, and he's like more of the counterpuncher. And I just think a guy like Joshua Van is going to come forward and try and press the action. I think Manel Cap can counter him and just keep him, like, just use his footwork, angle out, and just keep popping him with his left straight, with his right hand, switching stances. And I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight. Like, I do think Joshua Van will have some success, but he has been knocked out before, let's not forget. So he's not invincible. And he does get hit in fights. Like, he does get touched. I think Manel Cap, who's probably the hardest hitter in the division right now, and the fastest, I think he's going to be able to find his chin time and time again. I think he's going to be able to put him away. And I do think they're going to give Manel Cap the title shot, even though, yeah, there's the possibility of giving Tatsuro Taira the title shot. Like, I don't care. Like, yeah, they can go to Japan, but I don't give a fuck about Tatsuro Taira. Like, Manel Cap cut a fucking promo. Like, come on, give him his shot. He's been in the mix for so long. He beat Royval, who beat Taira. Like, just give him his shot, and then Taira can fight the winner, or if Pantoja comes back, then we give Pantoja a shot. And I think there's a chance that Taira can beat Manel Cap. I will admit that his grappling is at the highest of levels, and he did just beat Brandon Moreno, who's a good grappler himself. But I do think if Pantoja comes back, I don't know if he's going to be the same after the injury, not to mention the age and the inactivity could catch up to him. I always thought that Manel Cap was stylistically the hardest test for Pantoja, even though he lost to him before. It was a close fight, and it was also his debut. So I think there's a possibility that he beats Pantoja as well, like even at his peak. But with that being said, I think Manel Cap will be the champion, because even if he fights Joshua Van and beats him, he has got a history of pulling out, so there's a chance he gets injured and doesn't fight for the rest of the year. Fights at the end of the year against Pantoja. So I think this will finally be the year for Manel Cap. I know I've been praying for my nigga for the last few years to become the champion, and he never did because of shit happening outside the cage, or like him just getting injured or whatever. But I think this will finally be the year of Manel Cap. So that's my prediction. Flyweight champ 2026 is Manel Cap. Next on the list at Bantamweight, we have another one of my favorite fighters who I think is going to retain his title, Petr Yan. I just can't believe he's done it. I can't believe he actually reclaimed his belt. Like, I thought this motherfucker was never going to sniff a title ever again. But what do you know? He goes out there and beats Merab. And I think he beats Merab again in the trilogy. I think he showed he has the perfect style to do it. Merab took a fuck ton of damage. He's only going to be older in the trilogy and more injured. And I do think it's going to be more competitive this time. Like, I think it'll be like a DC Stipe type where the trilogy is like the most competitive out of all of them. But I think Piotr just going to do it again. Like, I think he's made the right adjustments. He did it before. He can do it again. And then after that, he's either going to fight Umar or O'Malley. And I think in a 5-rounder, he beats O'Malley again. And Umar, I actually think he bitches Umar around on the feet. I think the grappling will be interesting, but I think he can stuff his takedowns and bitch him around on the feet. And you've got fucking dumbass Kenny Okoye, who thinks that Umar is a nightmare matchup for Jan. Kenny, shut the fuck up and stop making YouTube videos. Like, honestly, he's such a dumbass. But yeah, I think Jan keeps his title. I think he gets about 2 title defenses, maybe 3, because Jan is quite injury prone. But I'd like to see him get in 3 title defenses. And it'll be against, like I said, either O'Malley or Umar, and then, of course, the Merab trilogy. Like, they could do O'Malley or Umar first, depending on how long it takes Merab to come back, because he might want to take some time off. Another chance is potentially maybe a Vinicius Oliveira, maybe, like, I don't know, maybe a Peyton Talbot could potentially earn a shot. I don't know, we'll see. But I do think that Jan will more than likely retain his title throughout 2026 and go into 2027 as the champion. So yeah, for Bantamweight, I'm going with Piotr Jan. And now moving on to Featherweight, the prediction I have for who's going to be the champion, I know you guys are going to just love, and that is, drumroll please, Movsar Evloev. Yes, I know, bear with me, guys. But let me explain. Honestly, I think Diego Lopez is going to beat Volk when they fight at UFC 324. 325 it is, yeah. I think he's going to knock Volk out this time. Like, I just think that Volk can only get away with it, like, being older for so long. And even if Volk does win, I do think he will retire. I know he's saying he's not going to retire, but I don't know. And even if he doesn't retire, I just think Movsar's going to get him, as Lucas would say. But, yeah, no, I just think Movsar's younger. He's undefeated. I just think it's going to happen, sadly. I think there's no getting around it. We're just going to have to deal with this ugly fucking groomer cunt as the champion. And if Diego wins, I think he beats Diego in a rematch. Like, I hate to say it, but I just think there's no getting around this one. I just think it's going to happen. There's not really much logic behind it. It's kind of just mainly vibes. But if Volk retires after he beats Lopez, I think they'll do him and Lerone Murphy for the vacant title. I think he beats Lerone Murphy. I think he beats Diego Lopez. I think he potentially beats Volk, sadly, if they fight now, just because Volk is kind of old. It's sad, but it is what it is. Moving on. Moving on to lightweight. I don't need to go too in-depth with this one. I'm going with Ilia Topuria. I just think he's levels above everyone at lightweight, except for maybe Arman. But let's be real, Arman's not getting a fucking shot in 2026. He's probably going to have to fight Benoit Saint Denis, and maybe even fight Gamrot in a rematch. Like, it's sad for Arman. But yeah, he's going to fight the winner of Paddy and Gaethje, I think, at the White House. I think that'll be the main event for the White House. That's probably the most likely option and the safest option. I think he beats either of those guys. And who knows, he might sit out for the rest of the year. Maybe he'll fight one more time, and then Arman might finally get his shot. And honestly, I think he beats Arman. I know I said Arman might not get the title shot, but we'll see what happens. It depends. And even if they decide to, like, they could also give Holloway a rematch, like, if he beats Oliveira. I think that's a possibility. Just because there's a storyline, the UFC really fucking hate Arman. And yeah, I think he beats Holloway again in a rematch. I think he beats Oliveira again. I think whoever they give him, he beats him. Like, I just don't think there's anyone at lightweight that can beat him. Even Arman. He's the only guy that has a chance, but I don't even see him getting a title shot in 2026. Moving on to welterweight. At welterweight, same thing. I think it's going to be Islam Makhachev. Like, I don't see anyone at welterweight beating him either. Maybe if Topuria moves up, he might beat Islam, but I don't know if Topuria moves up. Like, I don't think they're going to do that, sadly. As much as I want to see it happen, I think he's got to fight the winner of Paddy versus Gaethje first, and then, yeah. So I do think he's more than likely going to fight someone like Ian Gary, or God forbid they give fucking Kamaru Usman a shot. I think he beats both those guys. I think he beats Morales' zesty ass. I've heard rumors that he's fighting JDM at the White House, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think the likely option is he's going to fight Ian Gary. Then he'll fight one more time. And yeah, it'll probably be Usman, sadly. I think he beats both those guys. I think he only fights twice next year. He might even retire, so maybe we could see a new champion, but I think more than likely Islam will retain. Same at middleweight. At middleweight, obviously, like I just said, I've got Hamza. Like, he only fights once a year anyway, so we've only got to worry about one defense. He's going to fight a Mavov. I really want a Mavov to beat his ass, but he's going to get subbed in a round or dominated for 5 rounds. And then Hamza isn't going to fight for another year. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say Hamza wins. But I'm praying a Mavov becomes a champion. Mainly because I really like a Mavov, but also Hamza's just awful as a champion. So, yeah, I'm going with Hamza, sadly. Unless he moves up and vacates, something tells me he's going to be champ for a long time. I'm praying he just retires, honestly. He's ruining the fucking sport. But moving on. Next is where things get interesting. For light heavyweight, I'm predicting Yuri Prochazka to be the light heavyweight champion. And you may be thinking, what the fuck? Yuri's been knocked out fucking twice by Alex Pereira. How the hell is he supposed to become the champ? And hear me out. I believe Alex Pereira will vacate his light heavyweight title next year. I believe he will move up to heavyweight, and he will fight either for an interim championship or a championship, or maybe against John Jones. Actually, Pereira just said he's not fighting at the White House, so I don't know what's going on there. But either way, I do believe Alex Pereira will vacate his title, and there will be a vacant title fight between Yuri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg. And I believe Yuri Prochazka beats Carlos Ulberg. Maybe Carlos can knock him out because he does have hella power. But I would lean to Yuri being able to weather the storm and overwhelm Carlos and get him out of there. Unless, of course, like I just said, Carlos randomly chins him. But yeah, and then after that, I believe he'll probably have to defend against Ankalaev, unfortunately, because, let's be real, there's no one else at light heavyweight. It's kind of a wasteland. I mean, I could see maybe Azamat Murzakanov gets a shot. Maybe Jan Blachowicz gets a win in the meantime. They give him a shot, or maybe Bogdan Gushkov works his way up to a belt, but I think Yuri beats all these guys at this point. I mean, maybe Azamat could be an interesting challenge just because of the power, and Yuri does like to walk into shots, but actually, no, Khalil Roundtree's power's over it, I was going to say, but I'm predicting Yuri Prochazka will be the light heavyweight champion, mainly due to Alex vacating and going up to heavyweight, and I could also see Alex maybe retiring this year, but that's another question. So yeah, for light heavyweight, I'm going with Yuri Prochazka. And now moving on to heavyweight. Mate, I can't fucking see. Why the fuck you booing me for? Yeah, I'm going to go with Tom Aspinall for heavyweight to end the year as heavyweight champion. And I know a lot of people turned on Tom Aspinall because he was minorly outstruck by a couple of jabs, literally 3 strikes against fucking Cyril Gane. So now everyone thinks he's trash. And he gets illegally eye-poked, and now everyone's turned on him, even though Gane's the one who fucking cheated. And I love Gane, and if you've watched my channel, you know I'm a Gane glazer. But Gane fucking cheated, and now he has to sit out because his eye's fucked from an illegal strike. An illegal strike. And so, yeah. But I still think he beats Gane on the rematch. I think he'll take him down and submit him. And Alex Pereira, I think that's a tough fight for him, especially because of Pereira's power, the lighter man's skill. He's shown good takedown defense, and on the feet, I think if Gane can hit Aspinall and Blades, I definitely think Pereira can hit him. Pereira will definitely be the best striker he's faced, but I do believe Tom Aspinall will be able to get it to the ground and submit Alex Pereira. I don't see him catching him on the feet, but I know Pereira, it does seem like he gets hit, but Pereira's also very good at rolling with shots and staying out of range, and he does have underrated head movement and blocking, so Pereira, I do think, is going to be able to avoid Tom Aspinall's big clubbering right hand. But I do believe from there he'll be able to set up his takedowns and get Alex Pereira to the mat where he's significantly better. I know Pereira has a jiu-jitsu black belt, but come on, he's nowhere near the level of jiu-jitsu that Tom Aspinall is. So yeah. And if John Jones comes back and actually decides to man up and fight Tom Aspinall, yeah, I believe Aspinall beats him as well. Waldo Cortez Acosta, I think, could be an interesting matchup for Aspinall, but I think he beats him as well. Either way, once Aspinall's eye heals up, I truly believe he will be the champion of the division. If not, my second choice would probably, if he, like, let's say he can't come back because of his eye or whatever, or something happens, I think Alex Pereira would obviously be the champion, but I'm not really going to bank on his eye not being able to fully heal, but I could also see them doing Gane versus Pereira for an interim title in the meantime, like that was rumored to happen. But yeah, for heavyweight, I'm going with Tom Aspinall, even though everyone's turned on him. Well, that'll do it for today, guys. I'm going to have to come up with some more videos because, you know, there's no UFC for a while, so maybe I'll do a best boxer tier list. Maybe I'll make some more bold predictions for 2026. But either way, I'll keep busy. So please like the video, please subscribe, comment, hashtag all hail the Marlin Army, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.